Today we welcome our Rotary District 6250 Governor Joe Ruskey as our speaker. Joe and his wife Tina own Dependable Solutions, Inc., a technology consulting firm specializing in computer network support, design, and implementation. Their company has locations in Prairie du Chien, Boscobel, and La Crosse. Joe has been a member of the Prairie du Chien Rotary since 2003, and he served as that club's president in 2007-2008. His daughter was a Rotary Youth Exchange student in Denmark in 2013 and 14, and his family has also hosted 2 exchange students, so you can see how busy he is with Rotary. He is very passionate about Rotary. He's been a great resource to our club in getting our Rotary Global Grant for our project in Ghana. We look forward to your presentation, and we've made a contribution to the Rotary International Polio Plus Fund as a way to say thanks for speaking to us today. Please help me welcome District Governor Joe Ruskey to the podium.
Thank you very much. I truly appreciate that for more reasons than you know. The first reason is Rotary District Governor is one of those rare positions where people stand up and give you a standing ovation before you speak. So even if you blow it, you're covered. You can say you got a standing ovation. The second reason, which I really enjoy, is luckily my wife's been able to go to like 28 of my 40-something visits, and I love when she has to give me a standing ovation. So, and I'm going to reach out to one of my mentors, past District Governor Rob Stroud, and ask him after the meeting how I can potentially get her to continue to give me standing ovations after I'm no longer governor. We'll talk about that. But what an amazing way to wake up every morning if your wife was giving you a standing ovation. So, you know. I'm also very happy to be able to be here and speak. I have been trying to speak to your club probably since 2008, 2009, since I was working on a project in Ghana. And poor Pat, she has had to be I don't know what you'd call it. She wouldn't let me come talk to you. She runs this ship very tight, and she does a tremendous job. So I figured there was one way I could guarantee to speak to you, and so I put my name forward for district governor, and then she had to let me in. So now I can say I've arrived, and I've had the privilege of speaking to the Madison Club. So thank you. I want to share a little bit about who we are as an organization, because unfortunately there's a sad statistic in Rotary. In the past 10 years, Rotary has gained 1.2 million members. In the past 10 years, Rotary has lost 1.2 million members, and we remain stagnant at about 1.2 million members. Now, Rotary has done a very good job in the past 5 years about going after these members that have left and said, why did you leave Rotary? And the people have responded and said, well, because it wasn't relevant. Everybody in this room knows that that's not true. Everybody in this room knows that Rotary is more relevant today than it's ever been. Unfortunately, we're not running out of customers. We have more and more need each and every day across the world and in our own backyard. So that means that these people that quit within the first 3 years, most of them, simply didn't understand what Rotary is. And so my goal as district governor is not to go around and bark orders or do anything like that, because quite honestly, as Rob taught me many years ago, the position in Rotary, the higher up the org chart you are, it's a flipped organization. It's just the more people you serve. So I have the privilege and honor of serving 3,000 people in this district. And so my goal was to go around and ask the clubs what I could do for them, but more importantly, to tell them what an amazing organization that we're a part of. Because I truly believe if people knew what we were a part of, they would stop questioning the relevancy of our organization, and they would truly shift from being a Rotary member to a Rotarian. And so I'm hoping that I can give you some of this information today. I want to start out by saying that, first of all, we're the oldest and largest service organization in the world with 1.2 million members. We are represented in over 34,000 clubs and in over 200 countries. That last number really kills me, 200 countries. You know, I was an AB student, and I guarantee you I can't name 200 countries. I've seen the flag ceremony. You know, I've watched it. It takes 45 minutes to bring in 200 countries. There are some countries that I didn't even know existed, let alone what their flag looked like. If I laid a $100 bill down on the table, there may be 2-3 people that can name 200 countries. So that is amazing for me to think that we are represented in over 200 countries. We sit at the highest consultative level of the UN. We actually have governments and the UN and organizations come to us and say, Rotary, how do we get in there? Who do we talk to? How do we stop the shooting just so we can talk to them? You see, because Rotary is so well respected that even when we go into these mountains where they're killing each other in Afghanistan and Pakistan and all these areas where there's just warring factions, they'll stop because Rotary's there. Because they know that Rotary, we don't care about religion, we don't care about politics, we care about saving their children's lives. And so they will stop killing each other to let Rotary in to give their children medicine. And so governments come and say, how do you do that and who do we talk to? You see, Rotary, we also offer a master's program in 6 of the top universities around the world. We've written the curriculum. These are places like Uppsala, Sweden, or Chapel Hill, North Carolina. These are places where people go for a 2-year master's degree and learn how to bring peace and conflict resolution to regions. I had the privilege in interviewing a young man that wanted to be a part of this program. And this is a $150,000 scholarship. And I asked this young man, why do you want to be a part of this? And he said, let me explain that in my country, if I can't go back, I would have to sneak in. And if I was caught, I would be killed. No questions, no trials, nothing. I would be killed because of my parents' political beliefs. And so I can't even go back to my own country. And so I'm hoping that Rotary can teach me how to bring peace so that someday I can sneak back into my country and bring peace to my nation so that my children can walk freely. This man trusts Rotary so much that he is literally putting his life in our hands. That's the organization that we belong to. In 1985, there were some Rotarians that sat down and said, we have the money, we have the knowledge, we have the medicine. We need to stop having children die or become paralyzed from polio. We need to make a promise to the children of this world that they won't have to pull themselves across a dirty road for the rest of their lives. We need to eradicate polio. And the world looked at us and they said, Rotary, you're going to eradicate only the second disease in human history? And we said, absolutely we are. What's the first part of our 4-way test? Is it the truth? And so we gave our word that we would do it. And the world smiled at us and they patted us on the head and said, okay, good luck, Rotary. Hope it works. In 1985, there was over 350,000 cases a year of polio. From January 1 till today, there's been 11 cases of polio. Now that's 11 cases too many. That's 11 children that are now paralyzed for the rest of their lives simply because they did not get a drop of medicine. But think of how far we have come because of one Rotarian backed by 1.2 million of his friends in over 200 countries and over 34,000 clubs said, we don't know how we're going to do it, but we got your back. And we've done it, and we've stayed the course, and we are this close. But we got a ways to go. And we've done it with people that have truly, truly partnered with us, such as the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. See, in 2003, Bill and Melinda Gates came to us and they said, Rotary, we believe in what you do, and we want to help you. So we'd like to give you $100 million, but we need to make sure that you're serious. So we need you to match this $100 million. Can you do it? And we smirked and said, can we do it? We're Rotary. And not only did we match that $100 million, we beat it. We had over $120 million that we raised in less than a year and 2 months. And they came back to us and they said, Rotary, you are serious, and we want to show you that we're serious. Here's another $255 million. So up to this point, $355 million. And again, we had matches and expectations that we blew away. And they came back to us in 2013 and they said, Rotary, there's a job to do, and we are close. And we need to finish this job together. And so for every dollar you put in, we'll put in $2. Now let me tell you the significance of that. Because it costs approximately 50 cents to immunize a child and give them a promise of never having to have polio. And so if you give me a single dollar to our foundation, that $1 matched with the $2 from Bill and Melinda promises 6 children they will never die or be paralyzed from polio. $1, 6 children. That's the power of our foundation. And so they promised to give us $2 for every dollar we threw in, up to $35 million a year in 2013. And then this year I had the privilege, as some of your members had, of being at the Rotary International Conference in Atlanta. And Bill Gates came out on the stage and he said, Rotary, we are close. We are so close. We are this close. And he says it goes beyond this. And they unveiled the new logo, which is a drop of medicine. And it says drop to zero because we're almost ready to drop to 0 cases. The way that we're hoping is in 2018, we have 0 cases. In order to consider a disease eradicated, only the second disease in human history, it has to be 0 cases for 3 years. And so we're hoping 2018 is the first year of 0 cases. And he said, in order for us to finish our job, it's going to cost $1.5 billion with a B, dollars. Because until we have 0 cases, every single child in the world needs to continue to be immunized against this disease. He said, and I want to show you, Rotary, that we're serious and we got your back like you've had the world's back for so many years. And so, Rotary, you kick in $150 million and we'll kick in $300 million. And instantly the crowd went crazy because already we had raised 1/3 of the money. And he put up his hand and he said, wait a second. You don't understand who you are. You're Rotary. And because you're Rotary, I met with the CDC and the World Health Organization. I met with ministers of health from all over different nations. And in 1 single hour, because you're Rotary, we raised $1.2 billion. That's the power of Rotary. That's the respect we have around the world. Bill and Melinda Gates, the CDC, the World Health Organization, they don't show it on the news half the time, but every single one of them have always said there is not another organization that could eradicate polio such as Rotary. Because Rotary, they don't care about the politics, they don't care about the religion, they care about the people. We are the only organization that could have done this, and we will be the organization that eradicated the second disease in human history. That's something to be proud of. We have one of the top 5 foundations in the world. If you check out MSNBC, they rate us as one of the top 5. CharityNavigator.org has us as one of the top 3. On a 100-point scale, CharityNavigator.org, if you haven't used it, use it for your charities. It's a great rating. It talks about transparency and all that. On a 100-point scale, Rotary is rated 97.87. I give to the American Cancer Society because unfortunately my dad passed of cancer. And so I give to that, and they're rated 77. Does that make it bad, a bad charity? Absolutely not. It just means a lot more goes to their infrastructure than does in Rotary to the projects. At last count, Rotary had over 94 cents on the dollar going to all of our projects. And how do they do that? Think about the people that are currently serving right now as your president-elect, and your board members. How much are they making? 0. You know how much I make and past District Governor Stroud make as district governors? 0. Because we all do it not because we want a salary or anything. We do it because it needs to be done and we care. So that's why almost every single penny on the dollar goes to our projects. You see, we have a foundation unlike any other. You give $1 to our foundation, and what they do is they invest that dollar for 3 years. The money they make off that investment is what they use to fund Rotary, fund the salaries, fund the computers, the buildings, all that stuff. Then they take your original dollar and they give it back to you. And they say, Rotary, go make a difference. Go make a difference around the world and in your own backyard. I don't know of another single foundation that gives you your money back and says, go make a difference. And you guys have taken advantage of this. You've seen it. You did your international project a couple of years ago. That was a $125,000 project. A lot of that money came back to you from the foundation. That's a foundation that continues to give and continues to focus on making sure that every single dollar is spent, making sure that it will last as long as it possibly can. I want to give you a little bit of story of my Rotary history. My Rotary history started in 2003. Like I said, my dad got sick and had lung cancer, and I had come out from Chicago to where he had semi-retired in Prairie du Chien, Wisconsin. For those that don't know, Prairie du Chien is a little bit smaller than Chicago. And so when my dad passed away, my wife and I sat down and we decided Prairie du Chien was a place where we wanted to raise our family. But I didn't have an idea of what we would even do out there because in Chicago I had owned an IT consulting firm. I had no idea if it would work in Prairie du Chien, Wisconsin. And so I went and talked to somebody I respected, and I said, who do I talk to? Who has the pulse of the business community in Prairie du Chien? And they said, oh, you got to go talk to Rotary. I said, who? He said, Rotary. They meet on Fridays at Huckleberry's. They got the little circle sign that looks like a gear. I said, you mean the old guys that plant flowers? Because unfortunately, that's all I knew about Rotary because we do such a bad job about telling our story because we don't do it for the credit. And they said, yeah, that's the group you got to go talk to. So the next Friday, I went and I talked to Rotary. and I saw the mayor was there, the police chief was there, the sheriff was there, the businessmen and women were there, the people that truly, truly had the pulse of the business community, they were there. And I met the superintendent of schools, and now I own an IT consulting firm that we work with all different industries, but we specialize in working with K-12 school districts. The company has grown from me and my wife to 14 employees in multiple locations, simply because I went and talked to those old guys that planted flowers. And that's when I started to learn what Rotary was. And I learned that Rotary did a lot more than plant flowers, because we were doing some neat things, park gazebos and things like that in our community. We were doing scholarships, and we were beautifying the community and doing a lot of stuff. But I really didn't understand Rotary. And then in 2007, 2008, there's a joke in my club. They're not sure if I volunteered or if I missed a meeting. But in a small club, sometimes you miss a meeting, you're on a committee, or you become president. So in 2007 and 8, I had the opportunity to serve as president. And I had to go to this thing that you've heard talked about called PETS, President-Elect Training Seminar. And I was so mad, I was in my early 30s. How dare you tell me where I have to go and what I have to do? I was so wrong. It was an amazing experience. I started learning that Rotary was eradicating only the second disease in human history, a disease that, thank God, I never even knew about because my generation never dealt with it. I started to learn that we were doing projects all across the world and giving people fresh water and education and books and so much. I didn't know Rotary had that reach. And I learned so much about Rotary in that 1 year. And I joked that I missed the meeting, but let me tell you, serving as the president of Rotary was the best education that I ever could have gotten. And I don't think you can pay for that education. You see, because to be a president of a club is an honor. To be a president of a Rotary club goes way beyond that, because you are a leader among leaders. Everybody in this room is a leader. That was the best year of an education that I've ever could have gotten in my life. And I use that experience in my daily life from a business and personal perspective each and every day. I encourage you, if you haven't stepped up to a leadership role, to truly think about it, because you will not get a better experience. In 2009, 2010, I was asked by a past district governor if I would be willing to be an assistant governor. An assistant governor is somebody that is more local to the club, and they serve over multiple clubs, and they're kind of the liaison between the district governor and the club, because the district governor, unfortunately, only gets to visit once or twice during the year. So my clubs that I was over was Prairie du Chien, Viroqua, Richland County, and Platteville. And somebody from my club, her name was Cheryl Motter, came to me and said, "Hey, Joe, I was wondering if you could help me out with a project. I heard about these girls in Ghana that when they turn 13 years old, that their bodies go through changes and that there's not a bathroom for them to take care of their needs. Now, you guys are doing a similar project." And I said, "Tell me more about this." And she said, "Well, what happens is they go through puberty and there's not even a bathroom. Even if they had stuff to take care of their needs, there's not even a bathroom for them, so they have to drop out of school." At the time, my daughter was 13 years old. And I couldn't imagine going, "Hey, Samantha, remember all those hopes and dreams you had, sweetie? They're gone because your body changed. There's not a bathroom for you. I'm sorry, but everything you hoped for, you now have to forget." And so I said, "Cheryl, I will help you with however I can. What do you want me to do?" And she said, "Will you please go around to your clubs and see if you can raise some money?" And I said, "Absolutely." And I did. And we raised $6,000, and that was tremendous. But then I remembered I had learned something at PETS called the Rotary Foundation. And I learned they matched on some things. And so I went to Mary Kessens, who was the foundation chair at the time, and I said, "Hey, Mary, I heard that, I remember you guys did this matching thing. Can you help us out?" And she came back a couple hours later and said, "I talked to the committee, and we'd like to match your $6,000. And we were so happy because we were up to $12,000. And we thanked her, and we thought, wow, we can really do some good. We can help out multiple schools with $12,000. And then she called me back a few days later, and she goes, "Joe, we talked about this, and we have to do more. We can't just leave these girls without a choice in life simply because there's not a bathroom. So we'd like to match you up to $30,000. But in order for us to do that, you have to promise us that you'll go around the district and raise the other $30,000 in order for us to match it. Are you willing to do it?" And I said, "Absolutely." And she goes, "So I have your word?" And I said, "Absolutely, you do." And she goes, "Good. Now that I have your word, you have 2 months to do it." That's when I learned that Rotary's fiscal year ends on June 30th. So if anybody ever asks you to do something in April or May, ask how long you have. So we hopped in the car. We visited 42 clubs. That was the first time I started bothering Pat. I sent Pat multiple emails, so much so that I think she got sick of me and she finally said, yes, we'll contribute X amount of dollars. I didn't even have to come and talk. I got the money. We ended up raising $37,000 by visiting those 42 clubs. And the district threw money on top of that, and USAID threw money on top of that, and Rotary International threw money on top of that. That one person's idea, backed by 3,000 district Rotarians, turned into over $278,000. But it doesn't stop there. Because a club out of New York ran with this project, and they said, we have to do more. Because not only do these girls not have bathrooms, the mothers are forced to give their children poisoned water that is making these kids sick or even killing them, but the mothers have no alternative. And not only do they not have clean water to drink, they don't even have clean water to wash their hands. And so we have to make sure that when they go to the bathroom that they can wash their hands so they're not touching their face and getting sick and dying simply because they didn't wash their hands. We have to do more. And so they ran with this project. It turned into over a $2 million project. It affected the lives of over 86,000 people in that region. And there's two stories that I will never forget, two interviews. They went to a mother, and they said, what's different now that Rotary's been here? And she said, what's different is I don't have to give my baby poison, and our children aren't dying. And they went to this one little 14-year-old girl, and they said, sweetie, what are you going to do now that you can be educated? And she said, well, I'm either going to teach my mom how to read, and think about the power of that statement, because for generations, women had to drop out of school because of no bathroom. She said, I'm going to either teach my mom how to read, or I'm going to become the president of my country. And that's when I understood the power of Rotary. That's when I understood the power of our foundation. That's when I understood 1.2 million friends around the world in over 34,000 clubs in over 200 countries saying, you know what, we don't know these girls, we don't know you, Cheryl Motter, but we got your back. We will make sure that these girls will never be stopped from becoming the president of their country or teaching their mom how to read simply because they don't have a bathroom. We will make sure that these mothers don't have to give their children poison knowing they are killing their children simply because they have no alternative. We're Rotary, and damn it, we got your back. That's when I understood the power of Rotary. That's when I understood the organization that we're truly, truly a part of. I talked to Donna before she left, and I asked her what she was most proud about being a Rotarian. And she said it's the focus on peace, goodwill, and service above self. She mentioned that Rotary is the opportunity for her to give back, that she's able to give back at so many different levels. You know, and then I sat with your board, and one of the things that I like to do with a board is learn about the club and learn about the projects that you're involved in. And I know that they have some on the table tents and some of the stuff that you're doing, but I want to just let you know some of this stuff because sometimes you just need to hear it. You're giving over $275,000 in scholarships every single year. You have a mentor program where you're not only giving these kids money for scholarships, you're saying, let me hold your hand and help you through this process because you may be a first generation going through school. That shows how much you care about these kids. You have youth service awards, you have ethics programs, you have youth exchange, you have RILA, you have Interact, you're helping out the Second Harvest, the River Food Pantry, the Unity Picnic, you're doing your project in Ghana, Books for the World, you're working with the Salvation Army. I love this one. You're doing the gift for the kids. You're letting these kids know at Christmas time that, you know what, your luck, you may be down and out a little bit, but we're Rotary. We may not know you, but we love you, and we got your back. You don't know, but one of those kids may be the next president of our nation, or one of those kids may be the next Rotarian. All that matters is that you're showing them that you love them and you care about them. Be proud of that. You've done stuff in Peru. You've done, like I said, you're working in Ghana with Her Story. You're doing so much. I can go on. But what I want you to do is know how much you're doing around the world and in your own community. And then I'm begging you to please, please, please tell people what you're doing. Do you know that in Madison, there are groups of people that go out on the web looking for places to volunteer? They're looking for you. They just need to know what you do. You see, we as Rotarians need to quit thinking that if we talk about what we do, that we're looking for a pat on our back. We're not. We're giving the gift of Rotary. Because how good do you feel doing all the stuff that you do around your community through Rotary? Don't hold that gift back from somebody else. You owe it to them. And don't assume that they're too busy. We do this all the time. Oh, so-and-so would be great, but they're too busy. Every single one of you in this room is too busy to be sitting here. Rotarians are busy people. That your president couldn't even be here because she's on another committee. I mean, that's what we are as Rotarians. That's okay. Don't hold back the gift of Rotary. I'm begging you this year and for the future to tell your story. Be proud of what you're doing. I'm proud of what you're doing. I am proud, honored, and humbled to serve as your governor. I'm going to blast this all over Facebook. Do you guys know you give out $600,000 a year in your community and around the world? $600,000. There's not even 600 Rotarians, which means you're giving more than $1,000 per member back to your community or around the world. Who else can say that? Nobody else. So brag about it. Tell people. Let them become a part of who you are. I want to ask, personally invite you as well. There's a little banner over there to our district conference, May 4th, 5th, and 6th, 2018 in Wisconsin Dells. We're going to be doing a tri-conference this year. And we're going to include all 3 Wisconsin districts. It's going to be over 700 Rotarians. The rooms are $119 a piece. They include 4 water park passes, so bring your kids, your grandkids. We always joke that it's family friendly, and then your significant other is stuck in the room with the kids. We actually are signing a contract this year with childcare, so from Friday night and Saturday night from 6 to 9. You can hang out with your significant other during the dinner and the plenary, 2 main speakers that we have. So please come and join us. You know, one thing that we did, we've been planning this conference for 2 years, and we decided that we weren't going to pay any Rotary speakers, because Rotary has some great speakers, but unfortunately some of them charge 15, 20 grand to come speak. And so we decided we're not paying, for any of these speakers. And somebody said to me, good luck in getting top-notch speakers. We have some of the top speakers from around the world. We have Ed Fuda, who's the past General Secretary or CEO of Rotary. He's one of the gentlemen that's been involved in these meetings with the UN where they ask him, how did we get into this region? We have Shirley Grace, who's a past district governor. She's got a story that I don't even want to go into. It will blow you away. We have Ina Pinkney, who's a famous restaurateur and a polio survivor, now dealing with post-polio syndrome. She's going to be there as well, and we have 3 other top-notch speakers. These are some of the top speakers in the United States. Every single one of them said, all I want to do is share my story of Rotary with your Rotarians, celebrate what we're doing around the world, and you just give me a pillow. In fact, Ed Fuda, who's the past CEO of Rotary, said, you need me to take the garbage out, just point me to the dumpsters. That's how humble these people are. So I'm begging you to come hang out with me. Let's tell our story. Let's celebrate. But truly, please, 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 tell your story. Tell Rotary, Madison of Rotary's story. Let people know who you are. Let them know that you want them to be a part of you, and invite them to join you, because otherwise you're just holding back the gift of Rotary. So thank you for all you're doing. Again, I don't get fired for another 9 months, so if there's anything I can help you with, please, please, please let me know. My business cards are on the back table. The Tricon business card is on the back table as well. Registration is all already up, and there's even some Rotary theme pins, and our theme this year is Make a Difference. You already are making a difference in your communities and around the world. Thank you for that, and thank you for allowing me to serve as your district governor. Thank you. I was just informed that we have 4 or 5 minutes for questions, so if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Thank you, District Governor Joe, for your passionate and inspiring message about the wonders of Rotary. What's going on? Too close? Oh, how about this? So this is the home club. This is the home club of the Environmental Sustainability Rotarian Action Group. And it's been an honor with Paul Riemann to walk that process through Rotary. We're really excited that this year's President Ian Reasley has said part of making a difference is the fact that environmental sustainability is and should be every Rotarian's concern. What's our district doing to lift up that amazing theme?
Sure. So President Ian has asked that we plant 1 tree for every Rotarian. A lot of times people look at that and say, we have enough trees in Wisconsin, but that doesn't mean they have to be in Wisconsin. And there's a lot of tree beautification, and with the beetle that we had that killed a bunch of trees, there's a lot of opportunities. And so we're encouraging, and we've signed agreements with the DNR and the forestry to get to have people go out and plant at least one tree per member throughout the district. Many clubs are doing that. Some that say they don't need trees in their community are actually partnering with other clubs in like India and Africa and stuff, and helping them do reforestation projects and things like that. So it is a goal of ours to get us planted at least 3,000 trees this year, but I'm guessing we're going to probably double that number. Yep.
All right. Thanks, Joe. Great job.
Thank you.
For the district conference, they're terrific. I hope people make it. You did a great job of presenting it. For Toronto, what would you say to people? I've had the experience of being there and people saying, oh, I wish more in my club were here. What would you say to our club members to say, go to Toronto, it's close, it's out of the country, it'll be a great time?
First, yes, go. It's going to be a great time. If you want to truly understand what Rotary is and truly understand the impact that we have around the world, these are great places to go. It's not only great speakers, but it's you're sitting next to other Rotarians from all over the world that can tell you about the projects they're doing, as well as tell you about the projects that maybe you have done in their own communities. It's really a way to truly get set on fire for Rotary, because you come back from that so excited and so willing and ready to serve. And it's close. It's only over in Canada. I mean, all you need is a passport, and heck, you can almost hitchhike over there, almost like Atlanta. So check it out. It's a great time.
I just want to say, endorse it and say amen. In our club, we tend to think it's only the president-elect that goes to the international convention. But my term of the board had finished, but I was able to go this year to Atlanta. And it's amazing to be in a room with 30,000 people who are doing wonderful things all over the world.
Yep.
And I'd love to see our delegation be 20 or 30 people this year.
Yep. Yeah, and also the more people that we get from our district, we actually have a district party, which is pretty fun. So, great. Well, thank you all so much.
Thank you, Governor Joe, for sharing the big picture of Rotary International, the good we're doing, and what more we can do. We are adjourned.